We're always told that in the world of data, bigger is better, right? But what if the most powerful insights don't come from some global giant, but from a local hero? Today, we're going to dig into the surprising power of what we're calling the home turf edge. You know, the whole world of prediction, whether it's finance or sports, is pretty much built on this one core idea, that massive data sets are the key to everything. But is that really true? What happens when those giant complex systems are totally blind to the details that actually matter? So to really appreciate the power of local knowledge, first, you gotta understand what it's up against. We need to meet the dominant force in the game, the global Goliath. I want you to picture these huge, multi-billion-dollar sports books, a lot of them based in places like London or Malta. They are running these incredibly sophisticated algorithms that have been trained on millions of games from the biggest stages. We're talking the Premier League, the NBA, you name it. Their entire model is designed to spot these huge macro trends on a global scale. And this really shows you the fundamental difference in their playbooks. On one side, you have the global giants, and they're just hunting for big trends in clean, standardized data. But on the other side, you have the local heroes, and they thrive on nuance, on-the-ground intelligence, and all those unseen, messy variables that just don't fit into a clean data set. It's a total clash of strategies. So you look at this massive global machine and you think, where could it possibly be vulnerable? Well, it turns out it has a pretty critical blind spot. In that vulnerability, it's in what we call the last mile of data. This is all that crucial context-rich information that an automated system, scraping data from thousands of miles away, just can't capture. It's the kind of information that really needs a human touch. And there is no better place to see this blind spot in action than in the passionate, totally unique football market of Tanzania. It is the perfect proving ground where these big global assumptions just crash headfirst into local reality. So let me introduce you to our case study, an app called Keka. It's a football prediction app, really popular in Tanzania, and, this is the crucial part, it's built by a local company. See, Keka doesn't even try to compete globally. Instead, it leverages its deep local knowledge to find a winning edge, right there at home. Okay, so how does this on-the-ground insight actually create a real statistical advantage? Let's break down the 3 key pillars that make up this local knowledge edge. It all comes down to 3 core areas where a global algorithm consistently, and I mean consistently, falls short. The physical reality of travel, the human complexity of team chemistry, and the strategic timing of the market itself. Let's start with travel. Okay, so a global algorithm might see a team has a 2-hour flight, and it just logs it as simple travel, done. But that completely misses the reality of the entire journey. A local expert, someone on the ground, knows about the awful road conditions after the flight. They know the actual quality of the hotel the team's staying at. They understand the specific impact of the local heat and humidity. All these factors create a level of player fatigue that a simple travel distance data point will never, ever be able to capture. Now, the second pillar is all about the human element. The stuff that doesn't fit neatly into a spreadsheet. Team chemistry is a massive predictor of performance, but it's incredibly hard to quantify from thousands of miles away. But a local tipster? They are plugged into the local sports news. They see the social media chatter. They know about that internal conflict with a coach or a dispute over player payments. They understand the unique intensity of a local rivalry that makes an underdog completely overperform. This kind of stuff, it is prediction gold. And all of this brings us to the third and maybe the most critical pillar of all, getting that early market advantage. This is where local knowledge becomes a direct financial edge. See, because the global odds makers set their initial lines based on all that macro data, they very often misprice a match. So a local app like Keka, armed with all that nuanced information we've been talking about, can spot that mispricing immediately. They see the value before the big international money catches on and all the lines adjust. So when you put all of this together, you start to realize it's more than just a clever betting strategy. It actually points to a powerful new principle of data. And the result is clear. It's measurable. When you factor in this home turf edge, a local expert's prediction accuracy can significantly outperform a standardized global algorithm, at least in its own niche. The advantage is absolutely real. The best way to really frame this is as data sovereignty.
It's all about using a deep, localized knowledge base that these global giants simply cannot maintain. It turns what looks like a limitation, a narrow focus, and flips it into a powerful statistical advantage.
So if there's one key takeaway from all this, it's this simple but pretty profound idea. The biggest, loudest global algorithm isn't always the smartest. Often, the real edge lies with the expert who understands the unwritten rules of their own home turf. And that leaves us with one final question. This principle, it doesn't just apply to Tanzanian football, right? So where else does the home turf edge win? In what other industries does that deep local knowledge beat out broad global data? It's a question worth asking.